Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the epic, mythological timeline of Lord Vishnu's 10 avatars. We'll be mapping out the overarching cosmic battle between good and evil across the ages. This isn't just a collection of ancient stories. It's honestly an incredible framework of cosmic balance. It charts exactly how the universe corrects itself when things go terribly, horribly wrong. And it's a concept that feels incredibly relevant today. This idea that no matter how dark things get, balance is always ultimately restored.
Right off the bat, let's look at this absolutely powerful promise from Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Basically, he states that whenever evil skyrockets and righteousness tanks, the divine is going to manifest to restore balance. It's the ultimate cosmic guarantee. When darkness overwhelms the light, a preserver will step in to protect the good, destroy the wicked, and reestablish the fundamental laws of the universe.
So here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with the promise of Dharma, move through the primal avatars of the Satya Yuga, the warrior avatars of the Treta Yuga, the divine guide of the Dwapara Yuga, and finally, wrap up with peace and destruction in our current age, the Kali Yuga.
Now, if you look at Brahma's massive cosmic timeline, there's a really fascinating pattern that emerges. It's split into 4 eras: Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali Yugas. And notice the correlation here? As the purity level progressively drops and the world gets messier and more corrupt, the number, and honestly the complexity, of the avatars adjust perfectly to handle whatever chaos is happening in that specific age.
All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the Satya Yuga and its primal avatars.
It's kind of ironic, actually. This first era is widely considered to be this pure, peaceful golden age of truth, yet it still required 4 distinct, primal avatars to handle some massive, literal world-ending threats. The first 2 were entirely aquatic and dealt with huge forces of nature. First up is Matsya, the giant fish. The texts say he started as this tiny fish in King Manu's pot, but grew so insanely huge that he eventually guided humanity, the seeds of life, and the holy texts safely through a catastrophic global flood. Then we get Kurma, the giant turtle. Picture this: the gods are churning the cosmic ocean for the nectar of immortality, and Mount Mandara starts sinking. So Kermit dives down and literally carries the mountain on his unbreakable shell to keep the entire cosmos from falling out of balance. Absolutely wild.
Next up in this era is Varaha, the divine boar. Imagine an arrogant, incredibly powerful demon named Hiranyaksha literally kidnapping the earth itself, Prithvi, and hiding it at the bottom of a dark cosmic ocean. Total panic, right? So Vishnu manifests as this massive divine boar. After an earth-shattering underwater battle, Varaha defeats the demon and gracefully carries the entire planet back to the surface, balancing it right on his tusks.
Now, this next one brilliantly shows exactly how the divine outsmarts ultimate arrogance. You've got this demon, Hiranyakashipu, who gets what he thinks is a bulletproof immortality boon. He can't be killed by man or animal, day or night, inside or outside, or by any weapon. He basically thinks he's a god. So what does Vishnu do? He becomes the ultimate divine lawyer and finds the loopholes. He manifests as Narasimha, this terrifying half-man, half-lion. He strikes exactly at dusk, grabs the tyrant right on the threshold of a doorway, and uses only his bare claws. Loophole exploited, tyrant destroyed, and his devoted follower Prahlada is saved.
Moving right along to part 2, the Treta Yuga and the shift to warrior avatars.
So, as we step into the Treta Yuga, the threats change. We're not dealing with primal, beastly demons anymore. We're dealing with heavily armed, corrupt kings. Take King Bali, super generous guy, but dangerously ambitious. When he conquered heaven and upset the balance of the 3 worlds, Vishnu didn't just send in an army. Instead, he shows up as Vamana, a humble dwarf Brahmin boy. He asks Bali for just 3 paces of land for meditation. Bali agrees, and boom! Vamana suddenly expands to cosmic proportions. First step covers the entire Earth, the second covers the cosmos, and for the third, he places his foot right on King Bali's head. It's a genius way to reclaim the universe without a conventional war.
Now, pay attention to this number, 22. That represents the exact number of times the fierce axe-wielding avatar Parashurama wiped out the entire lineage of corrupt, power-hungry Kshatriya kings from the earth. Driven to avenge the murder of his father and the theft of a divine cow, Parashurama didn't just defeat them once, he systematically purged these tyrants 22 times to restore justice. It's a brutal campaign, sure, but in the context of a corrupted world, it was totally necessary.
Wrapping up the Treta Yuga, we have Lord Rama, famously known as Maryada Purushottam, the absolute ideal man and king. His life was entirely defined by extreme sacrifice and duty. I mean, the guy accepts a 14-year forest exile without a single word of protest just to honor his dad's promise. And when the terrifying demon king Ravana kidnaps his wife, Sita, Rama literally builds a bridge across the ocean and leads an army to take him down. He proved that strict adherence to moral duty, even when it hurts, will always beat brute power, eventually setting up the legendary reign of peace known as Ram Raja.
Which brings us to part 3, the Dwapara Yuga and the need for a divine guide.
Right, so in the Dwapara Yuga, moral ambiguity dramatically increases. The simple rules of right and wrong start to blur, which means the cosmos needs an avatar who isn't just a warrior, but a master strategist. Enter the 8th avatar, Lord Krishna. And talk about high stakes, he's born at midnight in a dark, locked prison with a tyrannical uncle, King Kansa, actively trying to assassinate him. But against all odds, with divine miracles like guards falling asleep and a river parting for him, he survives. He grows up to be this brilliant politician, a supreme protector, and the founder of the magnificent city of Dwarka.
But honestly, Krishna's most vital contribution to humanity was philosophical. Picture the apocalyptic Mahabharata war. Krishna chooses not to lift a single weapon. Instead, he acts as the divine charioteer for the great archer Arjuna. And when Arjuna has a total moral crisis right there on the battlefield, Krishna delivers the profound wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. It's this timeless masterclass on the nature of the soul, doing your duty without obsessing over the outcome, and sticking to the path of righteousness. It's wisdom that millions still use today to navigate everyday moral crises, and it ultimately ensured the victory of Dharma.
And that leads us perfectly into part 4, the Kali Yuga, an era defined by peace and destruction.
To navigate our current epoch, the dark, chaotic Kali Yuga, known for deep spiritual decline and hypocrisy, the cosmic cycle actually requires 2 vastly contrasting avatars. Look at how stark this is. On one hand, you have the Buddha, using weaponless wisdom to teach peace, compassion, and the inner conquest over suffering. On the other hand, you have the prophecies of Kalki, an apocalyptic warrior armed with a glowing sword who brings complete, violent destruction to reset the cosmos. It perfectly encapsulates the extremes required for our complex modern age.
Let's zoom in on the first of these 2 avatars. Born as Prince Siddhartha, he had every luxury imaginable, but after witnessing the harsh realities of sickness, old age, and death, he just walks away from all his extreme wealth at 29. Through deep meditation under a peepal tree in Bodh Gaya, he discovered the middle path, rejecting both excessive indulgence and extreme self-harm. As the Buddha, he attained enlightenment and actively guided humanity away from ritualistic violence, teaching compassion and the 4 noble truths.
But as our current era inevitably reaches its darkest possible point of tyranny and sin, a time prophecies say will be filled with short lifespans and greed, the scriptures lay out something terrifying. The 10th and final avatar, Kalki, will be born in a place called Sambal. He's going to arrive riding a magnificent white horse named Devadatta, wielding a brilliantly glowing sword. And he's not coming to teach. He is coming to violently purge the world of corruption and completely restart the pure Satya Yuga.
What's incredibly fascinating is that this final war will effectively unite the entire cosmic timeline. See, Kalki won't be fighting this apocalyptic battle alone. He's going to be trained, armed, and aided by the Chiranjeevis. These are the immortals, legendary warriors from past eras like the axe-wielding Parashurama and the mighty Hanuman. They are patiently waiting in the shadows right now, secretly alive, ready to prepare him for this ultimate holy war.
And this leaves us with a truly chilling mystery to ponder. When the time finally comes, who is going to be the ultimate embodiment of evil, the demonic Kalajraj, and what will that final showdown for existence actually look like? It's a profound reminder that we are all living inside a massive cosmic cycle that is constantly turning. The battle between light and dark is far from over, so the real question is, where do you stand in it today? Thank you so much for exploring this